We'll do it live!
YouTubers have gotten in some controversy, okay? VTubers in specific with Twitch. Now, from what I understand, this is over some kind of content policy that's being implemented across Twitch, which apparently has angered some of them, so I'm curious to see what this is about. We have a new Internet Versus video, so let's check this out.
Guidelines for their streamers. Twitch has posted some new guidelines for their streamers, and some members of the VTuber community have taken this as a declaration of war. In Twitch's last announcement, there were some major clarifications to limit what parts of the body streamers can show. This has happened a lot in Twitch's past, such as the drama around hot tub streamers. But this time, VTubers are getting thrown in the mix, as they are explicitly mentioned in the new guidelines, along with rules that confuse and upset a lot of them, such as not allowing their hips to be shown. And unsurprisingly, this sent the community into an uproar, and the internet had a lot to say about it. It starts off with some VTubers being upset about the new child safety rules, because it talks about VTuber models that are made to look younger, beginning with Zach Bousse tweeting out, "New enforcement note on youth safety, prohibited examples, typing in chat, haha, I'm 12 by the way, or I'm using my dad's account because I am 11, and attaches an image that says, enforcement notes and clarifications, content warning, depicting fictional anime characters of a childlike appearance, lollies and shotas, with any kind of S-framing is not allowed. This applies to VTubers and within games where avatars are uploaded, such as chat. With childlike avatars, even if the broadcaster and operator of the avatar is above the age of 18, any humor regarding anything S in relation to minors will result in immediate action on your account."
So I guess this is their way to crack down on like lolicon or shota kind of VTuber models, which a lot of them do have, and kind of them making, you know, sexual jokes about children. Now, I do think that, like, I don't know, I don't think it's a terrible thing for Twitch's business model to want to get rid of that kind of stuff. You know, if there's kind of this gooner stuff, this lolly stuff going on the website, because obviously, I mean, from an advertising perspective, somebody writes an article about how there's all these like sexualized child model avatars. That's going to look really bad for Twitch. They're going to look really bad and potentially even lose advertiser spending. So I think that makes sense. But I think maybe part of the problem here is just going to be the enforcement of how they do it. Like a lot of VTubers who have like kind of a cute anime girl avatar aren't necessarily lolicons or trying to push that kind of thing, but those people do exist in the audience. So I think that's going to be kind of part of the disagreement here. But I think overall, from Twitch's perspective, it does make sense to want to get rid of like lolly or shota kind of content, because that obviously, you know, first of all, it's kind of gross, and secondly, it can pose a risk to advertisers, which is Twitch's bottom line at the end of the day. You know, I don't want to defend Twitch here, but I think the base kind of motivation for that makes sense. I think the problem is probably going to be an execution of how it's enforced, right?
Future says, VTubers are about to get falsely claimed to the moon and back. I mean, heck, Iron Mouse could even qualify as a lolly to some people. Ava Punk responds, I mean, I guess, but I think pretty much all her models have adult breasts, so I don't know if that really counts. And Future says, it's just a vague rule that will be abused. Kinney responds, make no mistake, this will be abused and get a lot of VTubers banned. Asparagus says, most of them are just p-baiting anyway, so I will not shed a tear if this happens.
Well, I think it would be up if VTubers that maybe don't engage in that kind of thing do get hit, you know, versus the ones who are. Like, it's kind of hard to enforce this kind of thing, I think. Is Iron Mouse isn't like a lolly type thing, right? To be honest, I don't watch a lot of these kind of streams, so it's hard for me to even tell, because every time I click on any Iron Mouse video, it's just complete cancer and I can't watch it.
Well. Put sweatpants. Maybe I should have let you guess. Cat's out of the bag. They're not sweatpants. They're leg warmers. They're leg warmers. Sweatpants. And then we have my stockings. See, this is where my stockings are. My knees. Don't look at my nails. Oh.
Dude, I don't know what this is. I don't know if people want to call this lolly, whatever it is. I don't really care for that argument. Whatever it is, it's just cancer. Should they be banned? Probably not. It doesn't really look like a lolly. They have like adult features, I would say. But this is just like, how do you watch this? Who is watching this? This is cancer. What kind of person is watching this kind of, I don't understand this. This pure like, is this even Gooner material? I don't know what this is.
It's your favorite demon queen Iron Mouse here. Today, we're driving into the...
This is very sexual. Well, Twitch allows sexual content. I think the thing they're trying to crack down on is like sexualization of like child kind of stuff. And this doesn't look like a child to me. I mean, this looks like, you know, an adult woman's body.
Isn't that a fun name for something? The scooper.
What
it
is?
Sounds like something you would use for ice cream.
But I think part of the problem is some of them are going to argue like, well, it's just, you know, there are petite women who exist who maybe could be represented by, you know, a model with smaller breasts, which I think could be the case. So, you know, it's kind of a contentious issue here. Most definitely infantilization. Yeah, I mean, based on her speech patterns and her voice, yeah, but I think the argument from some of the fans would probably be that's just her actual voice, you know. The voice is the issue. Well, how do you enforce that? Is it like you're going to ban Lily Pichu for having a voice that's higher pitched, even though that's just like her actual voice, you know? Like, I'm fully on board with, like, if Twitch wants to ban, you know, lolly kind of content to protect advertisers, like, I think that kind of makes sense from their perspective. But the thing is, like, how are they going to enforce it, you know, is the thing. And I think it is a valid concern to an extent. While I can kind of get on board with what this guy is saying, you know. As far as the debating people, I wouldn't be surprised if they get banned. I wouldn't really shed a tear because, you know, doing that kind of thing on a platform with advertisers is obviously not a good idea. But I think that, you know, the problem with that is like how Twitch is going to enforce that, how are they going to grade it on like a scale? They're going to have like, well, if the breasts are this size, they have to be banned. If they're not this size, they shouldn't be banned. If your voice is this high pitched, it has to be banned. Like, how are they going to really enforce that? Ban women in general? Yeah, true. VTubers do this weird chibi thing where they make their models childlike. A lot of them do.
Crux Smash says, the phrasing childlike is going to be abused by Twitch staff and people that like to mass report for no reason. I can understand the intention, but the phrasing is so loose that almost anyone can fall under this category if Twitch feels like banning you. VTubers mostly. Windatar says, okay, so does that mean Twitch will be banning all gacha games? They all have characters like this. Also, isn't this just targeted towards VTubers? These vague, gray sounding terms are just going to be abused more than they already are.
Yeah, but the reason why a platform like YouTube or Twitch is going to have vague guidelines is so that they can enforce it when they feel like when they want to, right? Because Twitch has never been consistent with enforcement of policies anyway. So it's kind of going to be a situation where they're going to, you know, make it as vague as possible so they can just avoid criticism for banning certain things because they're going to be like, well, it's in the policy, you know? It's like, but the policy's vague. And they're like, well, it's up to our discretion anyway what we do, you know?
Gigabear responds, what's hilarious is this feels very...
Like, I'm very much not a pro lolly guy. I don't like that kind of stuff. But I think the enforcement of these rules and how they actually do it is obviously going to be a contentious thing. And I think there are some valid concerns that can come, you know, from that.
Much in response to the Dr. Disrespect situation, but that happened many years ago, and the only change was it came out in public. So they only really care that they got caught. Zach Bousset responds, none of these rules are new. They're just offering more clarity around them. So I doubt it, but it's fun to theorize. Voero says, good, ban them all. Bagster quote tweets Zach and says, don't forget that recently people have considered childlike to include any combination of the following: being under 5'5", having eyes too far apart, being flat, being over but close to the age of 18, having a childish mindset. No one knows what anything is anymore.
Who considers being under 5'5" to be a child? Aren't like half of women under 5'5"? Who has even made that argument? This guy says, if the changes are actually applied fairly to both VTubers and flesh streamers, and I think the change is mostly fine. However, it is harder for a VTuber to adapt to these changes, as getting a new or updating model can be expensive. It's very likely these rules will be more strict on VTubers specifically. When's your gamer sub sponsorship and want to buy some? You'll know.
Kirsch responds, the height of consent, the eye spacing of consent, the chest size of consent. Ma'am, we must measure you. Can the child-coded 30-year-old even give consent? Is their partner a P? The worldview of consent. I hate current year virtue signaling so much. And Baxter says, it's also tiresome.
I mean, I don't think it's virtue signaling to have a problem with lolly stuff in general, because that stuff is gross, and it is like, obviously it is like, you know, people fetishizing children specifically, which is a foul thing. That is a very weird, foul thing that if you're into that, I'm going to question like what's wrong with you. You know, I think the arguments around how Twitch enforces this can be very valid, but I don't think it's necessarily virtue signaling to be like, I find that gross, you know? I think the natural human reaction to most people when you see like, if there are adult dudes who are gooning to something that is clearly a sexualized depiction of somebody who's under the age of consent, and they're like getting off to the idea of that, like I think that's a natural human response to this. Like, that's just weird, you know? That's just weird. Like, it's not even a well thought out opinion that a lot of people have. It's just like, that's fucking gross. I don't like that. And I think that's a normal human reaction, you know, to seeing anything weird or disgusting. It's the same reaction people get to like gore. It's like, this is gross.
Maple Moth quote tweets Zach and says, get the lolicons and shotacons out of here. Bunny quote tweets Zach and says, people are saying this is going to get users with chibi models banned, and please hold my hand when I tell you this, but you also shouldn't be making overtly S content with your chibi models. I feel like this is a pretty common sense rule. And Namiel responds, I also feel like there's a huge difference between chibi models and models that clearly look underage. Like, I have a chibi model for Rosalina, and it feels like people are being obtuse about some of the guidelines. Kyoko tweets Zach and says, yikes, gonna be seeing a lot more VTubers getting banned soon. Robbie says, yes, we won. Fuck lollies, rare Twitch W. Back to your regularly scheduled Robbie Roos. Nicholas Diorio tweets out, wait, is this the policy that people are mad at? Showing a post in the YouTube drama subreddit that says, Twitch banned all lolly and Shota model VTubers with any kind of sexual framing. Mango responds, this policy is...
Like, I think the policy in and of itself actually makes a lot of sense, both from like kind of a moral/ethical standpoint for people who have a problem with that kind of stuff, but also just from, you know, the perspective of like Twitch's advertising, you know, model. Like, ultimately, the way that these companies like Twitch and YouTube make money is by attracting advertisers, by getting ads. And if some article by the Wall Street Journal is published saying there's sexualized cartoon drawings all over this website that children could potentially see, then a lot of those advertisers are going to be like, I want to pull out. You know, it can risk an adpocalypse if you have too much of that content. And so from a business perspective, it kind of makes sense. I think, you know, there is something to be said about how it's going to be enforced. And, you know, I think enforcing a policy like this can be very difficult. But I think there is like a case to be made just in general for the fact that, you know, a lot of the sexualized lolly stuff that VTubers do, not only is it gross and weird, but on top of that, it can pose a serious risk to advertisers on YouTube.
Flamenco's personal 9/11. Vito responds, not being allowed to make jokes? Yeah. I respond, most people are upset about the body coverage requirements for VTuber models though. And Nicholas Diorio responds, truly a political battle for the ages. Left wing, all women should be prostitutes. Right wing, all women should be animated children.
It is kind of weird how many right-wing like anime fans there are that like the lolly stuff. It is kind of weird. It's very interesting that you have this dichotomy of like, the left-wingers will be like, all kids should be transgender. They should all have hormones. And by the way, lolly is gross. And on like the right, from like the anime perspective, it's like, lolly is based, but if you're transgender, you're a demon and will burn in hell. And like there's kind of this interesting dichotomy that happens there. It's very weird. It's very weird. That is like a really interesting thing. Like you have all these like anime people on Twitter who are like, I love Donald Trump. I also love drawings of 9-year-olds. It's like, how did this happen? Only on the internet could this kind of collection of people come together to form these weird little niche communities that then get like actual representation on Twitter.
And Lele Star responds, VTubers are becoming one of the most obnoxious group of people on the internet. But speaking about body coverage requirements, that's another section that the VTubers are upset about, with Zach Bousset tweeting out, new enforcement note on Attire. No prohibited examples were provided, and attaches this image that clarifies enforcement notes and clarifications. Content warning. When evaluating reports for S conduct, Attire is just one factor we will use in making a determination on.
It is interesting that Twitch is like clamping down on sexual stuff now, considering in the past they like allowed a lot of like hot tub streaming meta and stuff like that. And like they're not even that long ago, there was like Morgue Pie streaming her ass being like a green screen that had Fortnite on it. Like there's a lot of weird sexual stuff that's been popular on Twitch. So it is interesting how this is like kind of a line in the sand they're drawing. I mean, it kind of makes sense because I think advertisers are less pissed off about women with big tits and probably could be more pissed off about drawings of, you know, little girls. I think it makes sense. Isn't Twitch CEO a gooner? I think he is friendly with Amaranth at the very least, yeah. The Morgue Pie stuff all got banned though. But yeah, but the thing is it goes on for so long and like the streamers get direct benefit. Like they never actually get banned. They get like a strike and then they get a lot of attention on them. Like there's actually, it's an interesting meta on Twitch where for a while there was incentive to get banned every once in a while. And it still is the case. Because if you get like a temp ban for doing something controversial, people hear about it, they follow your Twitter, they want to follow your streams in the future, and then when you come back, you get like a huge, you know, influx of people there, right? Like there was that girl who had sex on stream. She literally got fucked in the on stream, and you could tell she's like here, she's like and then you can like kind of see the guy behind her in the reflection, you know, doing some back shots. Ultimately got temp banned. She came back on Twitch and she got more attention than ever because that's, you know, the kind of content that some people want to see. So it is an interesting kind of thing that happens on Twitch there where getting banned can actually benefit you.
Conduct is acceptable. We recommend streamers wear attire that would be publicly appropriate for the context.
Yeah, 3-day ban for that. That's insane.
Location and activity they are broadcasting. For example, workout clothes would be appropriate for a fitness stream, and a swimsuit would be appropriate for a stream from a public beach. The attire policy applies to VTubers, in the same way it applies to other streamers. Genitalia, buttocks, hips, female-presented nipples, and underbust must be covered at all times on general streams.
Well, the policy here actually looks way more specific than people were making it out to be. This isn't even that vague. Like, this is relatively specific. They're saying, like, here's certain things you can't have. You have to have this part covered. You know, can only do, you know, workout attire in a workout context. Like, it kind of, they're being being much more specific than I was led to believe in the beginning of this video.
These guidelines apply to VTuber models, but not video game characters, including those uploaded into games such as VR chat. Hip coverage is often forgotten in this rule. Please be sure that your VTuber model covers this area.
I feel like the best policy for Twitch, if they actually want to make the most money possible, would be like the main Twitch site has no gooner stuff. Like there's no like girls shaking their asses. There's no hot tub streams. Like if you do that, you immediately get banned. So like Twitch is actually like a gaming, streaming, just chatting site, IRL streaming site. And then they could have like Twitch 18 plus or something that was like the gooner site. I think that would make sense to separate it into two different sites. So you have ads catered to the specific kind of content that's there. You know, you go to normal Twitch, you're going to get gamer subs or G Fuel ads. You're going to get ads for, you know, Razer keyboards or something. And then, you know, you go on the gooner site, you're going to get like Honey or fucking, what's the other thing? Adam and Eve advertisements, right? Stuff like that. Dan got caught in 4K gooning. Yeah, true. I saw that.
Festival and beachwear allows slightly more revealing clothing when within the relevant category, allowing the showing of hips and underbust, but genitalia and female presenting nipples must be covered. Static or slightly animated artwork for scenes such as stream starting, be right back, and stream ending artwork must follow all of our guidelines.
They're being pretty specific here. This isn't super like, you know, they're being relatively specific with what you can and can't do. I feel like it's not that like, there's not that much interpretation that can be had.
If you are in a setting,
Twitch has a stop gooning policy for VTubers,
such as a pool, hot tub, or beach that may not be real, props do not require water within them for us to still consider you're in the correct context. Your content is still required to be in the correct category and apply any applicable content classification labels.
So what they're saying here is like, if you're going to have gooner content, you can't just make it like a gaming stream, because obviously that's not the main purpose, right? The purpose is to have people gooning to it.
Jobby Batty responds, what the heck is female presented nibbles? Like, men can have nipples, but we can't? Zach says, yeah, that's generally how Twitch has worded / approached it.
What is this argument? Like, I always hate this shit. It's like, free the nipple. Oh, men can have nipples, but we can't. But yeah, obviously, like, a guy with his shirt off is not as inherently sexual as a girl with her shirt off, because girls have giant boobs or small boobs. Okay, a guy with their shirt off isn't necessarily a thing there's going to be a bunch of people gooning to, right? Generally, when a guy has a shirt off on stream, there's not millions of women in chat like, I'm playing with my pussy right now. Obviously, the opposite is not true, right? If a girl has, you know, big bazoongas and she has, you know, revealing clothing, like, that's a sexual kind of thing. There is an inherently sexual thing there. It's like, this is a double standard. Yeah, men and women are not the same. They're just not the same. Women and women are not seen the same. Online or in real life, they're not. Okay, this is why girls wear bikinis at the beach, and this is why men have their shirt off. Okay, because a guy with a chest is not an inherently sexual thing. What about breastfeeding streams? Why is there even breastfeeding streams on Twitch? That doesn't even make sense to me. Like, go to breastfeeding.com or something.
Dark says, crazy how they can allow this, and shows this meme of Twitch looking at a VTuber and turning away, and then approving of IRL streamers.
Yeah, I mean, this is a good point as far as inconsistency.
Petri quote tweets Zach and says, Twitch has always required hips to be covered. The wording is now clearer. I've been telling VTubers this for over a year. This is why so many of you keep getting banned. This image is 2 years old. Please know the TOS before getting your model. And attaches this image showing the guidelines, which talks about similar things being covered as the
Yeah, I mean, this is pretty specific. They even have a drawing.
one we just read.
We don't permit streamers to be fully or partially nude, including exposing genitals or buttocks. We do not permit the visible outline of genitals, even when covered. Broadcasting nude or partially nude minors is always prohibited regardless of context. For those who present as women, We ask you cover your nipples. We do not permit exposed underbust. Cleavage is unrestricted as long as these coverage requirements are met. For all streamers, you must cover the area extending from your hips to the bottom of your pelvis and buttocks. For those areas of the body where coverage is required, the coverage must be fully opaque, sheer, or partially see-through clothing. Does not constitute coverage. Augmented reality avatars that translate real-life movement into digital characters are subject to the standard, as is cosplay and other costumes. For details on how this policy applies to IRL, outdoors, and body art, please continue reading. I mean, I think the main problem with Twitch and the way people are reacting to this in some manner is just Twitch's inconsistent and terrible enforcement. But at the same time, I feel like sexual content on Twitch is probably a bad idea across the board for them as a business model, you know? Like, I think in the long term, I think it really makes them pay in terms of what kind of advertisers they're able to get.
Please stop posting women in bikinis in the hot tubs, beaches, and pools category. TOS clearly
This is overall reasonable. Yeah, I mean, Twitch's enforcement will probably never be reasonable, but the rules themselves kind of make sense to me.
states they have separate attire guidelines. And yes, Twitch consistently unfairly enforces rules on VTubers. Never said they did. Again, please read the TOS thoroughly. Pumpkin King Kai responds, the problem comes from inconsistent enforcement. I can go into ASMR or live or other tags right now and find plenty of non-VTubers violating the attire policy right now with hundreds of viewers. I agree that
That's probably
TOS has a
true.
place. TOS. But what good is TOS that isn't enforced? And Petri says, oh, 1000%. But that's a whole other issue that grinds my gears. Currently, the timeline is flooded with annoying VTubers as if this is new TOS. There's so much misinformation. Yuria quote tweets Zach and says, this just applies each time, and attaches this image. And Turo says, you may have found the anti-ban meta for VTubers. Maro quote tweets Twitch and says, hey Twitch, fuck you, attaching this image of his skeleton model.
Wow, you own Twitch, dude. You destroyed them. Thank you, Big Mac, for the gift of membership. Are you having a brat autumn? I'm not having a brat autumn. I'm having a normal guy, white boy autumn. Okay. What's up, Thomas Swanson? Doing well.
Nero quote tweets Zach and says, Twitch needs to make a statement on why IRL streamers can have an ass cam, but VTubers have to be covered like nuns. This is insanely hypocritical. Are they seriously just incel simps who hate anime but simp for these women?
I think consistent enforcement is definitely an important thing to, point out here, because Twitch is not consistent with their enforcement. I think it makes sense. But if they were consistent, I would be totally, I'm okay with this policy as is, honestly, but I would be even more okay if that was the case, if they had consistent enforcement.
And attaches this image. Twitch support also tweets out an unrelated tweet about enforcement notes. And some VTubers came into the replies, like Kabuki, who says, exceptions for VTubers specifically?
Incel simp is funny. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can't even say simp in a Twitch chat or you get banned, or you can't say it as a streamer, you get banned, which is crazy.
Is wild. We are just 2D avatars, but 3D hips, genitalia, buttocks, underbusts, and female.
I assume we ban kids from the internet altogether. I mean, that would be a nice, thing to happen, but that's never going to happen, right? Because these platforms know that so many of the people that watch them are kids, right? Like the demographics. I mean, obviously people lie about their age on YouTube. My demographics are actually surprisingly mostly adults. If I check my analytics, they are, which I think a lot of people wouldn't expect from a commentary channel. Have you seen all the things with Low T God? Yeah, I've seen some of it. I haven't gone all over, all deep into it, but I know about a decent amount of it. We'll check my audience analytics. Let's see what we have here. So for ages, 13 to 17 years is very low on my analytics. If we go here, 13 to 17 is 2% of the audience. The majority are 18 to 24. Now these people could be lying. There could be people lying about their ages here. Obviously, that's probably, the case to some extent. The majority, at least according to the analytics, are mostly adults. 25 to 34 is actually a larger demographic than 18 to 24, which is surprising to me. The majority of viewers who are adults are over the age of 25, at least according to this. Like, if you're going to lie about your age, you're probably going to say that you're, 18 because that's the minimum age. I would assume that most people saying 25 to 34 are probably being honest, if I had to guess. 18 to 24 is going to be majority kids who want to pass as adults. I mean, maybe. I mean, the thing is, I'm in that demographic and I, have my actual age of a Google account. Now, there are apparently some boomers watching. Apparently 4.3% of my audience is 45 to 54 years old, which is crazy, which is fucking crazy. Like, that is nuts. Apparently 1% of my audience is 65 and older. Who are the literal World War II veterans watching my content? I would love to know who these people are. Who are these people? 80% boys? Yeah, dude, are you kidding me? My main channel used to be, I think it was like 97% men. I think it's gone down to like 72% men at this point. There's a lot more women engaged with it. But yeah, social media as a whole will never just ban everybody under the age of 18 from their platforms unless there's some kind of like government mandate for it, which I don't think there will be, because they make a lot of money from showing ads to these people, Who has the time to watch content more than anyone else? Kids. They have all fucking day, Their lives ultimately are filled with a lot of boredom and trying to stimulate their minds, and a lot of that time is going to be spent watching YouTube. I mean, every age demographic at this point does watch YouTube. It's not just kids, right? It's like people of all ages. My fucking dad watches YouTube videos. My mom watches YouTube videos sometimes. The majority of people who have the most time to watch YouTube are definitely people under the age of 18, I would say.
The nipples are fine? Huh? And Twitch support responds, apologies, I believe you are reading this incorrectly. All of the listed above must be covered at all times on general streams. VTuber models are held to the same attire guidelines as other streamers.
But obviously, people will point out there's a lot of people on Twitch who haven't been banned, who have literally, shown their bodies. 25 plus is probably kids who lied about their age years ago and have actually grown to be 18, 24. That's possible. I mean, I think I did that at one point in time, probably. I probably lied about my age on my Google account. I honestly don't remember, but I probably did.
Knots Kier says, on the off chance that an actual person will read these replies, you should go fuck yourself. James says, you literally let flesh streamers have dedicated ass cam.
Flesh? I like that flesh streamers is like a term. Flesh streamers. I hate the flesh streamers. Imagine being a flesh streamer. It's disgusting. Seeing a real person, that's just foul. Seeing a cartoon, oh my goon.
And Mexi responds, flesh streamers sounds like a slur. Amethyst Lady also tweets at Twitch support and says, could you please indicate what you consider to be hips uncovered versus covered? For a VTuber model, clarification of this is very helpful directly from Twitch, so people don't get it wrong needlessly. And Twitch says, hey,
What the
we
Fauci?
specify this in our general guidelines. Exceptions apply as appropriate noted in our enforcement rules. And attaches the image that says, for all streamers, you must cover the area extending from your hips to the bottom of your pelvis and buttocks. Dexerto tweets out, VTubers are hitting out at Twitch over rules that require characters to be fully covered up, including their hips. Cosmic says, wait, don't they allow hot tub streams?
I don't think they do anymore. I think that's banned now, as far as I know.
Tyler Duran responds, Twitch making a good decision? I owe you an apology. I wasn't really familiar with your game. Bone responds, are you retarded? James says, aw, they can't thirst trap anymore. Boo-hoo. Maybe they should have planned different styles for their avatar, like when real people change clothes. Leia Kitties tweets out the new policy and says, Twitch has now confirmed that VTuber hips must be covered. I can think of many VTubers who don't have theirs fully covered, me included. The issue is, commissioning new outfits to meet ever-changing guidelines is expensive and time-consuming. Be aware of this clarified rule. If any VTuber receives a suspension relating to attire within the next few weeks, this could be why. If you have your model's hips exposed, I would only show off the top of your model out of caution. I appreciate the detail with the description, but many will be hit by this. How this would apply when VTubers have bikini outfits is something I'm unsure of, as it would technically break the rules. I personally don't have one, but please let me know your thoughts.
It's hard for me to understand, like, actually it's not that hard because it's just money. The answer is always money. Like, I'll always ask the question, like, why would you want to be known for content where you're just sexual and you're using your body or using your VTuber avatar to like be sexually appealing to people? But the answer is just money. It's easy money, right? Like, the question I always ask is, like, for some kind of OnlyFans girl, like, why would you do that? Like, when you could potentially have some kind of career based on what you have to say, you know? You have all these OnlyFans girls who have hundreds of thousands of followers on like Instagram. They promote their Twitch streams. Their Twitch streams get like 40 people watching them live. Like, people don't actually care about their personality. And I think that really hurts you in the long term. But in the short term, you know, the economy's kind of fucked. People want to make money. You know, these girls say, I'm hot, I want to make money from it. I'm just going to have an OnlyFans and make money off of it. You know, it's a quick bag. That's the obvious answer, you know? I think that a lot of people who do OnlyFans will regret it later on, probably, but you know, that's the decision they make. I think the same might even apply to VTubers who like get content from gooners, right? They get money and donations from gooners, and then they don't actually care about their personality. I think that could be a regrettable thing in the future. How many 10-year-olds could you take in a fight? It depends on the 10-year-olds, dude. I remember when I was 10, I was pretty short, and there were some 10-year-olds who were like fucking 6 feet tall, so you never know. It depends.
How a 3D VTuber can have their hips exposed and be banned, yet uploading the same avatar
Tom overthinks this. I overthink everything. That's my job.
to VR chat and streaming it is okay is wild to me. These rules do apply for 3D and 2D VTubers equally as far as I'm aware. The clarification does not apply to VR chat streamers. As an example, my hip is shown in this outfit, and I could potentially be banned for it depending how lenient the mods are, which makes no sense as I am mostly covered. Again, I could also be perfectly fine with this outfit. It's why the guideline clarification is confusing.
Well, Twitch's enforcement of policies has never been very good or consistent, so I think that's a problem. But I mean, I would say that to be safe in the future, just cover your hip. Like, come on. As a VTuber, you're not selling your actual body. I mean, yeah, but you're still selling like some sense of like sex appeal to gooners, you know? I'm aware that you're not selling your actual body if you're a VTuber, but you're selling like, tee-hee, I'm just a streamer girl. Like that kind of, like, it's just fucking cringe, bro.
Lizzie quotes what Twitch said earlier. The attire policy applies to VTubers in the same way it applies to other streamers. Waiting for Twitch to actually enforce this on non-VTubers.
They do enforce it on non-VTubers sometimes. Like, when there's enough hot tub content, they'll ban it, but they won't actually ban the people permanently. They'll ban them temporarily.
And Leia Kitties responds, I feel as though this is the issue. It is definitely applied unfairly in my opinion. Kawaii Babe says, am I the only one who thinks this is absolutely egregious?
Well, ultimately, I mean, motivation is probably to protect, you know, advertising. So, I mean, I don't think this is like a personal hatred of VTubers at Twitch. If they're making the money, they're going to be like, whatever. There are exceptions where Twitch will like have a specific hatred for a streamer, go out of the way to ban them. But I doubt that Twitch has like an overwhelming hatred of all VTubers. I think they're just like, we need to protect advertising dollars. We're going to have this policy enforcement so we can secure more advertisers so that we don't get some article written about how Twitch is having a bunch of lolly content all over it, you know?
Eddie. Tequila says, do they have any idea how many formal wear dresses are made to show a hip? How long until they ban people for showing ankles?
Based, all streamers must wear a burqa.
Pipkin Pippa quote tweets Leia Kitties and says, hips have to be covered? Laughing my ass off. CS Alfredo responds, don't worry, I made your model Twitch appropriate.
Base, dude. That's what needs to happen.
Enos says, Twitch hates VTubers. Straub responds, meanwhile, people have actual S on stream and sit on glass chairs with cams under their butts. Fansly quote tweets Leia Kitties and says, show all the VTuber hips you want on Fansly. ADC
Lol.
responds, thank you, Fansly. Very cool.
Gooner.
Mantine responds, I mean, you're mostly just corn, but extra steps. Nyaru responds, no. And the antagonist says, well, they tried. PAP quote tweets Leia Kitties and says, announcement. To avoid being banned by Twitch, I have decided to no longer have exposed hips or chest. In fact, having a body at all is too risky. Praise the puddle. Ranbu quote tweets Leia Kitties and says, gotta keep it waist up.
Is that even a guy? What is this? What is this gay thing? Is that the same Ranbu from like Minecraft fame? What the hell is that? What kind of MTF, FTM, gyno monstrosity is this?
This Halloween. And Randbalt responds, gotta cover up because it'll distract the other streamers from their work. Bayo the whale quote tweets Leia Kitties and says, how the fuck is covering myself in diddy amounts of baby oil and going down a slip and slide in a bikini less of an offense than being a PNG? Come on, bro. And Yaklush responds, hips? Who is making these rules, man? Squoo-chan says, think about the children. Alara tweets out the new rules and says, the VTuber Twitch bans are about to get so much.
I like how the policy they're showing is like lollies and shotas like getting banned. Like, this community is so weird, man. How would your V-Sona look and be called? I did get a VTuber model made at one point, and it was like the old Turkey Tom red avatar. I just never used it. Maybe I'll use it eventually, but I just like, I had it and then I was just like, there's no point to doing this. But maybe eventually I'll bring that out. I paid like $1,000 to have it made or something, and then I just never figured it out.
Much worse. Kaisun responds, applies to other streamers. When is that going to start getting enforced for non-VTubers then? It certainly isn't getting enforced now. Rev says Desu tweets out, Twitch is being more transparent. This is not the W you think it is. Just know that Twitch's updated terms ban content like the VTuber on the left while actively promoting content on the right. Keep putting pressure on them. Force them to be consistent. And attaches these two images, the first one showing this and saying,
Hold on. If I check Twitch right now, does it have Gooner content? I don't think I can show it because of YouTube has policies around sexual content as well, which just got Amaranth banned, I think. If I go to browse, just chatting, let's see what we get here. There's Asmongold at the top.
How about that?
Oh, wow, there is Gooner stuff right away, dude. Literally.
For weddings, maybe, I'm not sure if I would.
I think I can show this. You literally, it's Gooner content instantly. Just instantly there. What is this?
I am,
Yeah,
but
is
we're
it
not gonna
okay?
film you if you don't want. We'll just turn the camera around.
Bro, there's
if I
so
go to
much
that
of it.
website and I find the material the bed is made out of.
Intended for certain audiences. Holy shit. What is this? The fact that people watch this kind of stuff is crazy. Just chatting. What other categories do we have? Browse. Creative esports. Silent Hill 2. Isn't there an ASMR category? I assume that's the most Gooner content you can possibly find. Bruh. Of course. Dude. This website is fucking cooked. This website is cooked. We'll save that for later. But, yeah. Twitch is cooked, bro. Twitch is fucking cooked. Go on Chatterbait at that rate.
this image frightens Twitch staff. Like, comment, and retweet to strike intense and visceral fear into the hearts of Twitch moderators. And then this image on the right, which we have seen before. Ace Harlow responds, I have a feeling they will offer some sort of retraction for this, just as they have for the past 3 to 4 times they've pushed rules. Trigger Point tweets out,
Twitch had this moment in time where they what was that thing they did? They banned like all or no, they for like a night they had some mistake where they allowed like furry porn, and then you had like a bunch of people like Pay Money Wubby having furry porn in their streams, and they all got banned like the next day. I remember that was a big controversy when that happened. Twitch is, I mean, once again, like, I don't want to defend Twitch too much here. Like, the intention I understand, but their policy enforcement is generally very bad.
Twitch, cover up those hips, VTuber. Also Twitch, and attaches a pull stream image. EB responds, we need a VTuber platform so badly. Just
Been a fan since Slazy, you've been crushing it. Keep it up. Thank you, bro. Appreciate the dono.
Evan@0 tweets out, VTubers wanted to be treated similarly to FleshTubers. Twitch updated their policies to reflect that. Now VTubers don't want that. Help me understand. I will admit though, a lot of the policies are targeted, but they do bring them in line with what has always been expected of facecam streamers. Anyway, I'm not a VTuber.
Well, I think the problem is, and I hate to even give this argument because I think it benefits some probably gross people, but I think part of the problem is like Twitch will say like, oh, we have these guidelines, but they never actually like thoroughly enforce them, right? Like people will get like a very short temp ban for sexual content. Or someone like Amaranth has had sexual content on Twitch for years. She just updates it every once in a while to skirt around the guidelines so she doesn't get permabanned.
Understand the concerns though. You can't just change a model design after you poured thousands of dollars into it. This does suck. Rima Evanstar responds, I think the issue is that they're letting flesh streamers get away with so much more than VTubers do. And Evan says, maybe we should talk about this. I don't want to record a video, it's too early. And Rima says, down. Elara responds, the double standard on enforcement is what upsets everyone. Azihara tweets out, Marine's new Twitch approved swimsuit model just dropped. Child safety standards have been met. And Spooky responds, hold up buddy, is that an exposed hip? Flipsy says, cover up those.
The thing is, they'll say that it's inconsistent enforcement. What they really want is just all gooner stuff all over Twitch, right? I think a lot of the VTuber audience would probably love to see Amaranth get banned, but want to see like lolly people all over Twitch. Not all of them, but there is that kind of that market that exists in terms of that audience.
Those guys, you filthy. Johan tweets out, one of these will get you banned on Twitch and the other is acceptable streaming material. Can you guess which one? Nero replies, the hot one will get you banned. And Summer responds,
bruh, the hot one to that? All right, bro.
Tweets out, one of these will get you banned on Twitch and the other is acceptable streaming material. Can you guess which one? Nero replies, the hot one will get you banned.
Jeez.
And Summer responds, is that the half-naked aging or the adolescent preteen anime girl in a crop top? Joyotomi says, the wife material will get you banned. And John X responds, I'm guessing you're talking about the one that looks like a kid. Biggs responds, I would permaban her for those disgusting tattoos. At least with tubers.
This is the thing that's so interesting. It's like these guys are like, I fucking hate these women with these weird tattoos. They do OnlyFans. It's disgusting. But then it's like cartoon porn is like, they're just gooning all day to it. I'm gooning. Like, that's like the dichotomy. It's such an interesting kind of person that I don't understand yet. I don't understand the mind of this kind of person.
They make themselves pleasant to look at. Camila tweets out, so hey, at Twitch, at DJ Clancy999, I hope you know that content like this is 80% of the VR chat category.
Going after VR chat now.
VTubers, PNGs, are facing all the suspensions. Either ban both sides or don't ban it at all. This is fucking dog shit. And attaches a video of a VR chat model wearing very little clothing. The most VTubers do is flash those areas for shock factor. And on the other hand, VR chat is borderline corn category, but they're not ready for that conversation. Experiment. Me wearing this exact outfit but as a VTuber and count down the seconds until my ban. Trigger Point responds, seconds? More like milliseconds. And Camila says, real. Rima Evanstar tweets out, VTubers need to cover their hip and buttocks. Not allowed to take shots for donos anymore.
I only gooned to Tom Dark streams. Base, Zach.
And must refrain from doing jokes / S-framing if they have lollies / Shota's model. I'm sorry, but an anime buttock will always be more gracious and dignified than a real one. Leia Kitties responds, I won't lie, I think the shots for donos rule being in place
VTubing is only slightly less strange than being a furry. I'd say it's maybe on the same tier.
Is good for health, and I understand why it's in place. Lydia responds, I would sure love to know why I've been flagged like 4 times. I don't show my hips, not a lolly, not doing anything raunchy, don't even use the bikini model for like 6 months, like what the heck? Coefficient quote tweets one of Twitch's posts and says, wait, are FGC Yu-Gi-Oh players and Smash players protected groups? I might be cooked, guys. Attaching an image that shows that another thing that will be restricted is negative.
You can't, yeah, this is the crazy thing about Twitch's rules. They're so weird. You can't say the word simp. You also can't say negative statements related to hygiene, etc. You know, whatever, protected group are all smelly. When they say protected group, there's no way they mean like Smash players. They have to mean like black people, right? They have to mean you can't be like all black people smell bad. You can't say that. Is it actually true that you can't say that all like VR chat streamers are smelly? Can you not say that? They probably mean Indians here.
Statements for hygiene. Example, protected group are all smelly. And Coefficient says, oh, and also VTubers. Bicklin responds, they sure as shit ain't protected by hygiene. And Coefficient says, all I'm saying is, who's gonna protect my poor nose, bro? And that's what the internet said so far. See you next episode. Twitch has posted
kind of an interesting situation here. I'm curious what the comments have to say. Losers, they're really throwing a hit because they can't roleplay as kids to farm lolicons and shotacons. Imagine you made a model based off your own body, but your body breaks the rules and gets you permabanned, while Smex is basically allowed for a regular female streamer just with a 3-day penalty. Nobody bring up the VTubers who are just sexualized unfairly for presenting feminine average Twitter moment. I'm on the VTuber side. You can't allow hot tub streams and ass cams that say, hey VTubers, you can't show a lot of your body. What is a lot of the body? Is a bit of cleavage against TOS? Well, in fairness, they said a bit of cleavage isn't against TOS in the guidelines. Are shorts TOS? Like they aren't, well, I mean, they were more specific than this. I don't want to defend Twitch, but in the guidelines we just saw in the video, they were way more specific. They were like, you can't show this part of the hips. You have to be covered from this point up, this point down, that kind of thing. VTubers are treating this like a civil rights movement. Flesh streamer also sounds like a slur. I want to enjoy both VTubers and OnlyFans e-girls without feeling like I have to choose one or the other, as if it's a choice between God or the devil. I love both VTubers and e-girls equally. Both should be allowed to make not safe for work content. This guy's a gooner, dude. This guy's a complete... Wait, is he just farming? Because this seems to kind of contradict what he's saying. Even lolicon and Shotokan YouTubers should be allowed to make adult content. Oh, wait, this guy is not baiting. He's just actually whatever this kind of person is. That is, if said VTubers are 18 and up. Jeez, bro. Certified gooner here in the Twitter versus comment section. Interesting. Well, that's the conversation there. You know, obviously... I think in summary, I think Twitch's enforcement has always been very contentious and not very good. I think the intention of banning like lolicon and Shotokan content does make a lot of sense, and I would agree with that in general. But the enforcement obviously could have some issues in how they, you know, enforce it equally or non-equally rather. But yeah, I mean, I if you're on Twitch, like having a clear child avatar, trying to act like a child, trying to sexualize that kind of thing, trying to play into that kind of audience, it's like not surprising that you would get banned for that, and I don't really feel that bad for you, you know?